Namaste and welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity. I'm going to answer another question from the jar, or attempt to. I'm going to reach in here, pull the question out that's on top. Take a deep breath first of all, and set my timer. Everything's acting up here. There. Is life supposed to be difficult? Is life supposed to be difficult? Wow, what a good question. Is life supposed to be difficult? I guess it all depends on what we define as difficult, I suppose. Is difficult challenging? Is difficult overwhelming? There's two different things. I think this human experience is difficult. I think there's no way around it. It's difficult. I can say, I look back at my 60-some years of life and say, man, that was hard. I really do. I say, man, that was hard. Oh, boys. I still see the joy in it. I still see the beauty in it. But yeah, it was difficult. Was it supposed to be that way? I think what happens is that the human experience is difficult because we have a lot of things to deal with as we progress through this life. We have a lot of human-generated nonsense that has built up in front of our experience of life. So we don't experience life fully and openly. We experience life through this collection of chaos, or chaotic filter that was placed in front of our experience of it. So we're seeing through this filter of chaos, and we see the difficulty, we see the suffering. We become consumed with the human problem, the human problems of the little me, and I have to stress that. Because I think most of the human experience difficulty that we have is due to the fact that we see ourselves as separate little entities, and we've come to see the ego as who we are, the personality as who we are, the body, the mind, the personal mind as who we are. I am me, you are you. This is my life on this little stretch I've been given on this salty rock, in, one small salty rock in a solar system. One solar system in a galaxy of what? Millions of galaxies? Or trillions of galaxies, I should say. And this me is everything, right? Life is here to serve this me. And with that idea in my mind, life is difficult. Suffering, as the Buddha said, exists, the first noble truth. And it doesn't exist because life, though it definitely has its challenges, we don't evolve without challenges. Species don't generate and change without challenge. They don't adapt to a new way of being without challenge. That's what evolution is all about. So the experience of living as a human being, just one of many, 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 many being species, one being in this human race, 8.5 billion, and that human race being one species in so many different animal and plant phyla. Like there's just so much to explore, and we are just one species. Yet it's all about us because we have the consciousness, supposedly. We don't know if anything else has consciousness. We assume they don't have consciousness because we live in a very species-centric way of being and thinking, right? The humans, we see ourselves as superior as humans because we think differently and we have these minds and whatever, but we don't know. We don't know what other people think. We don't know if trees can think or feel. We just assume they can't, right? Because we're a different species. All that being said, is life difficult for the plant? Does the plant, if it does think, say, oh God, life is difficult? Does it look back at its 60-some years and say, oh my God, that was hard, like I've just done? Or does it see it as the way it is and the way it's meant to be for it to change? So I do believe, and I don't know how I believe this, but I believe that being human is difficult. Being a human being is difficult because of our level of intelligence, because of our level of perception, the way that we can take all this data in with our five senses, and then it goes through the nervous system to be interpreted by this mind filter called the brain. I do believe strongly that consciousness exists outside the brain, outside of matter. But that is filtered through the matter of the brain. I think because of that intellectualization, it is difficult. Because of our perceptions, it is difficult. And because of our ability to make a mess of the mind, like we tend to do as human beings, it is difficult. Is it supposed to be difficult? I don't know. You have to wonder if it's supposed to be difficult. This is part of the mandate, why we came down into these incarnations and why we experience this life. If life is all about adapting and changing and adapting to challenge through the process of evolution, then maybe it is supposed to be difficult for every human being that comes down here to some degree. Maybe that challenge that we perceive and label and judge as difficult rather than just being the way it is there to help us to adapt and to grow at a higher level. Who is the us? It's helping to adapt and grow at a higher level. It's not the body. The body suffers from the external environment. The body suffers from the internal environment. The body changes regardless as it ages. It's a pair of clothing that we wear and take off at bedtime. You know what I mean? It's just here for a while to help us get through this life. It's equipped with all this sensory stuff for a reason, so that we, whoever we are, experiences the full gamut of being human, using all the five senses, if possible. But who is the we? Is it the human, the body, the mind, the personality? Gosh, no. I've done enough research and enough soul-seeking and enough exploring my own mind and my own human personality that I know that I am more than this personality. This personality is not why I'm here. It is the personality that's suffering. It's the personality that has having the problems. It is the personality that would say life is difficult. And it's the personality that says life shouldn't be difficult. It is difficult, but it shouldn't be. That's the personality. Most of us see ourselves as bodies with a personality. We see ourselves as our personality. If you were to describe to me who you were, you would describe your personality. That's who you think you are. And that personality is an ego, a psyche, a collection of your summed events, a collection of all, and the collection and sum of all the events you've had over your life, the ones that you couldn't process through fully, that got stuck inside you, be they good or bad. Your samskara load. That's your personality, your samskara load. Those impressions that have stayed stuck within us, through which we see, that creates this chaotic field that I was telling you about, this chaotic lens through which we see life. It's your personality that creates that. So your personality would say, looking through that field, which is it, oh yeah, this sucks, this is hard. But who is the we that watches the personality look through that chaotic veil it has created and says life is difficult? That observer, observing the personality, observing the body, observing the experiences that are being perceived through this messy, dirty veil that the psyche has created, does not think life is difficult, but it knows the answer to the question you just asked. Is life supposed to be this way? It knows if these challenges are beneficial or not. It knows if the challenges are real or not, or if they're just perceived. It knows what needs to be known. Yet we don't see it because we're still operating from the personality. If we could fall back from these little personas that we see of ourselves, the roles we play, where we are in society, what we have, what we own, how we act, how people see us. if we fit in or don't fit in, and what makes us fit in and what doesn't make us fit in, if we're fear-based or shame-based or arrogant or confident, if we fall back beyond all that to that which is observing the personality say life is difficult, or life isn't difficult. I think most personalities would say life is difficult. We would see that we're not the personality. So therefore, what we're perceiving as the personality is not reality. And we would know the answer if life is supposed to be difficult. Wow. I hope that made sense. Hopefully it makes sense to me when I go over it again. Thank you so much for joining me. Have an amazing day. Namaste.